Hi, welcome to a new and occasional updated video series for the Heart of Neon YouTube page, tentatively calling it Heart and Craft. I'm an independent filmmaker making a documentary about an independent video game designer, so obviously I'm a little bit interested in the ins and outs of how to make independently funded art. So I think that most artists, musicians, filmmakers, video game designers, trying to release their craft into the world, meet the same obstacles. And I think maybe there's something we can learn from each other's stories. To that end, here is the first video where I interview Tony Longworth, the composer of most, if not all, of the music that you hear in Heart of Neon. Tony's been an independent musician for a great many years, and I wanted to hear his story and share that story with you. I hope that you enjoy. Thank you.
Oh, Tony Longworth, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, hello.
Tony is the stalwart friend of Heart of Neon and the composer who brings every scene alive. I probably could have done it without him. I don't want to find out. I will never find out because it's happened this way. The thing that I find fascinating about your career, Tony, is that when I met you, you were promoting your website where you give away music for free. You don't give it away. You're making it available. For people.
Use it. Well,
Right.
people are helping me by funding me through Patreon, and that enables me to write music, and then eventually, so my Patreon supporters get the music first, then it goes out to everybody else later, and stuff like that kind of thing. So it kind of works. It's good. It's kind of shared. It's letting me be creative, and then it's kind of sharing that and passing it on, which is great.
Well, I mean, the thing is that we'll get to Patreon in a bit, but the thing is that, so, I mean, you instantly presented as like an independent musician, right? Now that's you're hustling, you're pushing yourself on the socials.
Indeed.
I mean, you sort of pushed yourself on me, which was wasn't a hard sell, but it was cool, right? I mean, you're proactive as an artist, so that's kind of what I want to get into. First though, I think we should have some context. Tony Longworth, tell us your story. So you're a musician? Did you go to school for music, or is this something you picked up?
It was just something I picked up as I went and realized I enjoyed it. The real story starts when I was about, I think it's coming up to my 5th or 6th birthday. I see Elvis Presley in a sparkly jumpsuit on the TV. I remember I have this vivid image. My birthday party was coming up, and I had this vivid image of asking my parents if I could wear one of those amazing sparkly jumpsuits because I wanted to look cool. And this, it must have been either coming up to my 5th or coming up to my 6th birthday. And I still remember it. I remember the house we were in. I remember seeing him on TV and just thinking, oh my God, how cool. I want to do something like crazy like that. Not that I've done something crazy like that, but I mean, it kind of like, that was my first, this guy's on stage and he's doing something with music and blah, blah, blah. And then kind of fast forward to when I was 13, my cousin, who was older than me, he was in a band. They kind of travelled around the UK a bit. He played covers, a lot of cover songs, but they were really good. And they were kind of fairly well known on the social club circuit and stuff like that. And I remember going to see him play. This is a terrible story, and this is a terrible reason to get into music. But I was 13. Went along to see him play. It was just after Christmas, and they're on stage. The band's on stage. He's a guitarist. I remember at one point he's on, I think, the singer's shoulders playing this guitar solo. Everyone's loving it. It's really good. And then he comes off stage later, sits with us, and we're chatting away. And this attractive young lady comes across and starts talking to him, gives him a piece of paper, walks off. And I was like, do you know her? And he was like, no, she just gave me a number. I was literally like 13-year-old me. I was like, I've got to get into a band. It's a terrible reason to get into music, but it's like, we can blame puberty really for this.
I was going to say, at 13, all bets are off.
Yeah, exactly. But it was kind of like looking at my cousin as well. It wasn't just that, getting a phone number from someone. It was also, looking at my cousin thinking he's on stage, and he unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he was an amazing guitarist, amazing drummer, and I was really close to him, and kind of that inspired me in a way to do something. I was like, I want to, I don't know, play guitar. I wanted to do something. And then it was years later, it was early 90s. I formed my first band, me and some friends. We were just like, we need to start a band. We need to do something. We all ended up, I think there's 3 of us with like lead guitars. So it's like, one of us has got to play bass. Come on, let's be serious. So with me, it was like, all right, I'll play bass. So I played bass. We found a drummer, and we were just full on into metal. So we ended up, our first band called Morbid Symphony, and they lasted for about 10 years. And it was just full on death metal, but we were kind of known in the local scene, and we had gigs across the UK and stuff like that. We played with Cradle of Filth, Anathema, stuff like that. So it was a good scene at the time. We enjoyed it, and me and the drummer Keith, we basically said, if this band ever splits up, because although we were into metal, we were into other things. We wanted to experiment with other styles of music and stuff like that. But because it was death metal, it was just like, no, it's got to be guitars, drums. Can't really bring much synth in. We can't do this. We can't do that. So me and the drummer were like, if we ever split up, whatever we do, we need to come together again and form a band where there's no style of music at all. We can do anything we want. And after Morbid Symphony split up, me and Keith, we formed Flesh Resonance. And Flesh Resonance is still going on today. And it's just a band of all different styles. I mean, it's me and Keith, all different styles of music. We've just released a new album the other week. And
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So it's I mean, there's metal in there, there's dance, there's, I don't know, soundscape and experimental stuff. So that's kind of, at that point when I got into Flesh Resonance, and we released our first album. I mean, I've always been into movies, and I was an avid reader of the horror magazine, The Dark Side. And when our first album come out in 2000, the issue of Dark Side magazine, that month, the actual album come out, there's a big section on indie filmmakers making all these horror movies all over the world and stuff like that. And there was like addresses where you could send music or contact them. So I basically sent our CD to a whole load of filmmakers, and a handful came back and were like, is there any chance we can use this song in, this indie flip we're doing, or can we use this song? So it's like, great. So I made sort of contact with a handful of people who I'm still in contact with today, actually. And as time went on, they wanted more and more music. I was like, well, I can keep doing Flesh Resonance, but I really enjoy sort of play around, keyboard, synth, sound, samples, stuff like that. So I kind of, from that point onwards, from like 2000 onwards, I'm like, I'm gonna start doing my own stuff and experimenting. And people, if they want to come to me and ask me to write a certain thing for an indie flick, then I'm up for that. So that's kind of how I got to this point today. Really, that's a long story, but I mean, it's a long road.
That was 5 minutes. It's fine.
It's fine, yeah.
It's a lot of stuff into a very small frame. So, but composing for soundtracks isn't your bread and butter right now, then?
No, I mean, it doesn't really fully pay the bills, as it were. So you've always got to have like a bit of a side hustle. So I do other things. I do graphic design and stuff like that to fully pay the bill. I mean, I've got 2 kids and a house and studio and stuff like that. So it's kind of like being realistic. It's taking on other things as well and being flexible and just kind of like rolling with it, really. I mean, my passion is music, and it's kind of like, any free time I've got, I want to be creating something and doing something random and stuff like that. A bit like that piece of music I sent you the other day randomly. I was like, yeah, that's just like, stuff like that. I spent just like nesting and playing and stuff like that. And I just love doing it. I just absolutely love doing it. It kind of just drives me really good.
I absolutely relate. It's great. I mean, so at what point, so you've made this choice, you're going to commit to more time to doing soundtracks. So at what point did you do this, start putting stuff on the internet as a library, so to speak?
That's it. You know what? It's been a few years now. It's a few years. I say it's a few years. There's probably about 5 years actually. Time flies. But probably I've been on Patreon for about 5 years. I just figured got to a point where, I was sending sort of music out to filmmakers and different people. I thought, it'd be nice to set up a little campaign, and if people like it, they can just pay $1 a month and stuff like that. So I got this little campaign together, and it's kind of doing well, and it kind of like pushes me on. And I've got that. So at the moment, every month, I was like, I need to deliver at least one piece of music for my supporters, and then I can put a free piece out from, a few months ago to everybody, kind of thing. So that's what I'm doing, and I kind of like that goal, because one of the problems I sort of fell foul of it early on when first band Morbid Symphony. The first song we wrote was a song called Planetfall, and we spent so much time on it, and we spent so much time rewriting it, and we just wasted so much time when really we should have went, yeah, that's fine, we'll move on to the next thing. And we were kind of stuck on, I remember, for months and months and months, and it just dragged on. And I kind of learned, at that point, a really important sort of lesson. Kind of like, sometimes you just got to leave something and just move on. And if you want to revisit it later on, that's great, but just, you've got to take your focus somewhere else, really, kind of thing. So I kind of like my Patreon campaign where I've got that goal of delivering one thing a month, and it's, otherwise, I'm motivated, but, things could drag on, No, it is. But
I totally relate, yeah.
It's kind of like being a perfectionist as well, I'm not saying I am a perfectionist, but you kind of, you want things to be pretty much right, and sometimes you just got to let go and move on.
Well, there's that syndrome too, where you use perfectionism as an excuse not to deliver.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've been there.
Really
nah, it's not good enough. Nah, and then like 2 years later, you still haven't done anything. So
yeah.
Imposter syndrome. So there was a period of time. So you started doing scores about 20 years ago. So how were you making ends meet between then and Patreon? Because Patreon sounds like it's doing okay, but what were you doing before? As an indie musician, what were you doing? Because like your kids must have been small. You were maybe not in the house that you're in right now. So things have changed.
Full house. It was. It's true. But since I've been doing music, still been doing like graphic design as well to fall back on, kind of thing. So that's just the way it is. It kind of works. I can support my family. I can do everything I kind of want to do at the moment. It's all it needs. I'm like hectic and busy and stuff like that. And,
it becomes a time management thing then, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to be realistic. It's kind of like if I've got a busy day with graphic design, it might be I get some music in the morning first thing, I get some music in the evening. I do a lot of evening work and stuff like that. And it's kind of just balancing around the kids and around the wife and stuff like that, making sure I've got enough family time, and it's a balancing act, but you can make it work, being sensible.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can have it all.
yeah, exactly.
How old are your kids now?
So eldest is 17, and the other one was a bit of a big gap, 8. So that was I don't like rushing into things. That's why there's a bit. No, not really.
Fair enough. Are either them musicians?
Yeah, the eldest, they do get into the drums quite a lot. They are learning the drums, and the youngest is learning the piano as well. In fact, this drum kit behind me here, that's usually in the eldest's room, but they had a party with 8 of the friends last week, so they're like, can you have your drum kit back? And still they get kind of still here. It's my drum kit. It's my drum kit. But yeah, it's like when you want it back, you can.
It's his now.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I thought it was a good idea. I was like, yeah, sure. Take it upstairs, put it in your room. It's an electronic one. You're not going to hear anything. You do hear things. You hear the parts. You hear the, the bass pedal on the floor, stuff like that. I'm downstairs thinking, at least it's not a real drum kit.
They'll teach you.
Yeah.
So, as a independent musician trying to find an audience and make some money doing it, how do you find that ability to sell your music online right now? The business itself is sort of in flux. Do you have any perspective on that?
It's a difficult one. the thing is, you're going to be really lucky if you get music out there and make an absolute load of money off Spotify, off, Apple, anything like that, really, because, and I'm getting royalties through, it comes through, it's not a fortune, but people are listening, and it is generating a little bit. I mean, one of the things is it's trying to get your music placed in TV and movies and stuff like that, really, and just getting on board with kind of like licensing companies, sync companies, and there's some decent ones. I mean, I think there's some probably rubbish ones out there, but I'm kind of signed up to a couple, and now and again, like randomly, not that it makes loads of money, but now and again you'll get a little bit of money back because you find out a piece of your music's being used in a random program. I think one of my pieces of music used in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here the other year. It was I can't remember what season it was or anything, but I remember like I got a statement through of royalties and I was like, oh right, okay, that's random, that's great, so it's little things like that. It's like, oh, that all helps, which is good. But to be honest, I see most of the royalties coming through kind of generated with YouTube, people using your music on their YouTube videos and stuff like that. It's making as much music available as you can for people who are creating videos like on YouTube or I guess video and stuff like that, just to use it. You don't know where that's going to go. And it's I see listings of like YouTube in random countries really, generating money. I'm thinking, okay, that's fair enough. That kind of works, so it's
and that's captured like on the fly, right? Somebody uses your music just because they picked it, they upload the video,
yeah.
YouTube detects it, recognizes it, and then sends you money based on advertising. Yeah.
That's so it's good. It's a good system. It's a good system. Soon as someone uploads, once any of my music's released, like officially, it's kind of all, I guess, sort of stamped and serial numbered. So if it goes on any of these websites, the website software instantly recognizes it. It says, "Oh, that's Tony's song. It's this," and blah blah blah. And
is there a specific gateway? Like it has to be on a specific site before it's logged? I mean, is there?
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you. I mean, I go through a cut. So when I release, I mean, what I tend to do, so I come up with this idea because it takes so long to sort of create and release an album. What I wanted to do, I was like, it'd be nice. Okay, just release song at a time, put it out there publicly, and then once the whole album's ready, release it everywhere. So I kind of put song by song onto Bandcamp, which I kind of like that platform, and that kind of works for me. And people can actually see my albums getting built up, and then once the album's complete, that's when I'll send it out everywhere. Now I use a company called CD Baby, which I've used for years, and just basically to get my music out to Spotify, to YouTube Music, Amazon, and all those. And it's not that expensive, and they do all the work basically. They put it on all the major digital platforms, they put all the serial numbers, and it all goes out official. And at that point, that's when YouTube will recognize the music and stuff like that. So when you get to that point, when I release it through CD Baby, that's when it is all sort of stamped and recognizable to the outside world kind of thing. So it's a decent system. It's just a bit like I've kind of learned across the years. It's one of them. It's a bit of a sort of the whole sort of music and getting your music out there and getting your music on all these different platforms. It is a bit of a dark art, and it's kind of just stuff I've fussed over the years with like my bands and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this works or this doesn't work, and it's interesting. As you'll probably know as a filmmaker, you kind of know what it's like out there, and you need to know, certain things, and you need to know a lot of things basically.
I'm only now beginning to appreciate that community is very important, which is sort of the impetus for this. I mean, we're all sort of all independent artists are in the sort of same boat, as far as I can tell. Anyway, I mean, it seems to be. I mean, there's cycles in every industry, but like right now, there's a massive people who want to make art, and there's
Yeah.
other massive people who want to see and experience and consume, for want of a better term, art. And then there's this bottleneck of
It
people
is.
who don't want to let either end touch each other without like a huge payday for them.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's capitalism, right? But it seems to be worse than ever. I mean, I'm releasing a film at the worst time to release a documentary film in the history of film. So it's cheers, guys. So I mean, because that is, I mean, what I'm building up to is the question: what would you like to see different? I mean, if you seem to have a situation that sort of works for you, it's pretty low maintenance, and you get a return.
Yeah,
maybe not a return commensurate with the amount of time you put into it. But have you ever spent any time just yourself thinking, or with you guys that you make music with, like, you know, if only X existed, or if only I could do Y.
Yeah. It's I think one of the problems, just going back slightly, is I write a piece of music, put it out there, and it's like a black hole, basically. You know what I mean? It kind of just goes straight into there. Unfortunately, it goes into there with millions of other pieces of music. And one of the problems as like an independent sort of musician, it's kind of like, how do I get my music to the person who wants to listen to it? That's one of the, all those people who want to listen to it. So I have like kind of fanatical followers, and I'd love like a million more. You know what I mean? I've got a small amount, but it's kind of like, how do you find those? That's one of the frustrating things. It's like, without spending serious cash and serious marketing and all that. I mean, I constantly see these things, which is like, pay me, I'll get you on all these Spotify playlists, and you'll have millions of listens. And it's kind of like, that's fair enough, but kind of fake, isn't it, really? At the end of the day, these are not the people I want to be listening to my music. I'm just doing it to generate more money back, and it kind of doesn't feel right to me. So there's no system I can think of to make this work, but the thing I'd like to do is release the music and just hit that audience who are waiting for that piece of music. Now, I've got Patreon supporters who do that. I've got people out there, who are waiting for another piece of music. I send music to filmmakers, I send music to podcasters and stuff like that, ideal platforms. So they all appreciate it, but it'd be nice if I could just like, great, finish the music, send it out, and it hits this big audience. I know it's out there. That's one of the frustrating things. Being indie, you know there's an audience out there, but it's how do you hit that audience? How do you find them?
Is there any mileage? Oh God, that's a pun. Is there any mileage in touring? I mean, what is it like trying to find? Do people come out to live shows anymore?
Apparently
anymore. I was like music's suddenly dead or something. No, but I mean, I don't know what it's like for you as an artist. How does that work?
I mean, it probably, for my music, probably no. For the band's music, probably yes. Now, in the past, I mean, Morbid Symphony, sort of, we did gigs. We did some great gigs. We did some really bad gigs as well. And it was the same with Flesh Resonance. I mean, we did some great gigs. So, and I mean, the story with Flesh Resonance, this is another kind of indie learning curve. Me and Keith started the band. We created the first album. We put that out. We're like, this is great. What we need to do now is get out there and tour. At the time, because it was early 2000s, I mean, the technology was there, but we didn't really have it. We thought, instead of just taking a load of electronic kit with us, laptops and stuff like that, why don't we get a drummer in? Why don't we get someone on synth? And stuff like that. So we ended up creating this band. And there was, at one point, there was like 5 of us. We did do gigs, but then what we hadn't thought of from the very beginning, this is any project, the more people you get involved, the more different ideas you're going to get from these people, kind of thing. So me and Keith were happy writing, and we kind of bounce off each other, and we inspire each other. And then we got these other 3 people in, and they all have different personalities. And for several years, although we wrote and released the second album with them, we kind of really struggled. And eventually, we basically had to get rid of the other people and get back to just me and Keith, really. So now it's back to the 2 of us. So that was a big learning curve. So after that, we're like, well, we're not going to end up touring. because it's just the two of us. But recently, because we just got the new album out, recently we're like, you know what, we could do gigs, just the two of us. It could be decent. It could. So we are thinking of that at the moment. We haven't done anything serious with it. It's like we've got the kit, and we just need the time really to make a bit of a plan and see if it's if it's going to be worthwhile. But I mean, maybe it's not. I mean, I don't know, at our level, maybe not. I mean, the big bands, everyone comes out to them. Sort of indie, the enough unknown bands, it's a little bit different. You just need to get on the right gig, the right stage, hopefully to the right ears. So it's definitely something we're thinking of for the future.
I mean, has it changed? If you had to implement a plan tomorrow, how different would that plan be from what you would have done in 2000, say? I mean, has gigging changed dramatically? I mean, I know you have, but has gigging changed?
Do you know what? I don't know enough about it, really, because although I don't go to gigs that often, but when I do go, it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is cool. This is still, I've been surprised. It's still there. It's still out there, kind of thing. It's one of them. So I don't know enough about that, really. But I mean, I know people are willing to get out there, buy a ticket, listen to something new. So I know for a fact it's all going on. So maybe.
I mean, I was just out of the scene. I mean, I've never been a musician, but I was like going to concerts and stuff for a very long time, unless it was like super big headliners. I started. I was tentatively doing this documentary about a Brooklyn band, young kids, and the thing they do is sort of like what's happening in contemporary hip hop. It seems to be like the bill will have like 7 acts on it, and it starts at 10 o'clock. Wow. So like there's all these bands, and like they bring all their fans into this place, so the place is packed for like 4 hours, but there's 5 acts, and it's intense.
Wow.
It stinks. But it's like, how rap albums, like a new rap album comes out by ostensibly one artist, and there's like 7 or 8 other musicians on it.
Wow.
So that seems to be a thing, where there's a cross pollination going on. It's like the YouTube vlogger type thing to get viewers, to get listeners. Yeah. Maybe that's the thing, right? Maybe that is one of the things that,
that's a really
as a body of artists working together. I mean, somewhere in the back of my head, there's like some kind of multimedia Coachella in my head, where it's just, I mean, the way that Lollapalooza was the first time.
Yeah.
Not once it becomes an institution, it was like, it really was like artists working together.
That's right.
Like, the things that I know, I don't know a whole lot about it, but artist-owned entities tend not to last. Somebody fucks up or gets greedy. And also, when you're dealing with artists, you're dealing with like a bunch of egomaniacs. I speak as knowing myself as one. So there's that too.
You're totally right. Yeah. As soon as you start working with someone else in a band, it's like you're in a serious relationship with them. You're gonna have problems with them. It's like being married to them. I mean, you try to explain it to somebody who's not been a performer or working in a team, like it really is like a marriage with way fewer benefits. There's no upside really. No, not at all. So just the arguments and stuff like that.
Just the arguments and the compromises and the sulking.
That's when when like big bands split up and like fans, I can't believe they split up. You're like, actually, I really can. They hate each other. Let's face it, they hate each other.
My first eye-opening experience of that, I was a huge fan of Madness. I don't know how British of a certain age will know who Madness is, and like they were, every single of theirs went in the top 5, no problem. And then like the keyboard player Barso, who wrote most of the songs, quit the band, and that's when I came in and he was like, we all hate each other. We never hang out. We only get together in the studio. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
but you guys are amazing. So I was just this assumption is blown out the water,
Exactly, and you're heartbroken as well because you just
I thought they were buddies. Yeah.
Do you know the thing with Madness, right? I really thought they loved each other because when I was a kid, I don't know if you remember the UK magazine Looking.
Oh God, absolutely,
The Madness. They had the cartoon strip of Madness, and it was all.
Oh, I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, and it was just like these guys are great. These guys are just like
Naughty boys.
silly pranks, and it's great. They all get on and still hate each other after a couple of years. Yeah, it's the same with all bands. It's the same, right? It's just, it's just, it kind of does break your heart because you just want them all to get on and be happy and stuff like that. But yeah, reality is, it's like as soon as you get a group of artists together, and you're working on one project, you're gonna fall out, you're gonna struggle, you're gonna be. I mean, the thing is, I'm really lucky because Keith, Flesh Resonance, we've never really fallen out. He's really the only person who I can write with and create with, and and then when we have a difference of opinion, we're like, I can see your side, and vice versa. It's you do meet people like that.
It's a chemistry at the end of the day. Yeah. It's rare. When you find it, you got to hang on to it.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is fun.
So I guess we're near the end. I guess one last thought anyway that we could bounce about for a bit. Like, where do you see yourself going, or how would you like to see the next 5 years go for you? I mean, same sort of idea, but a different way of phrasing the question.
Good question. Firstly, I'd like to see Heart of Neon find the true audience. As I was saying before, I want that. I want that to hit the right audience as well. There's a lot of interest out there. You know what? I mean, I'm perfectly happy doing what I'm doing now. I'm in an okay situation where I'm lucky, where I can kind of just write what I really want to write. It's one of them. I mean, I know working on different projects, it's like, you write this and you write that, but I've got the freedom to do other stuff as well, which is great. One of my heroes is Frank Zappa, and he always just did what he wanted to do musically, and I kind of look at that and just think, that is just, in fact, I've got Frank Zappa vinyl on the studio wall. He's looking at me up here. And then he always just did what he wanted to do. And I kind of just love that. And I kind of, although my music's not like Frank Zappa's music, I kind of, I have that sort of spirit of freedom, and I just want to do what I want to do kind of thing. So I'll just be happy banding, being more creative and crazy, and, sell more music, and Heart of Neon does well, and stuff like that. I'll just be happy. I'm in a happy place, so I'm quite lucky.
I celebrate the heck out of that. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for sharing your time and your insight. I mean, you've been a musician for a very long time, and I hope you're a musician continue being a musician for another very long time.
Thanks you.
Anyways, let's stay in touch, mate. Let's stay in touch.
Definitely. Keep in touch.